Today, Minnesota is bracing for statewide anti-ICE protests dubbed the Day of Truth and Freedom. It comes as Democrat leaders speak out against the ongoing immigration enforcement efforts and 3 arrests made after a protest inside a church over the weekend. Garrett Tenney is live in Minneapolis with more. Hey, Garrett.
Hey, good morning, Charlie. Yeah, the Department of Justice has now charged 3 of the organizers of that anti-ICE protest that shut down a church worship service over the weekend in St. Paul. Attorney General Pam Bondi announcing those arrests on a post on X saying, "Listen loud and clear. We do not tolerate attacks on places of worship." Now, just a day before his arrest, William Kelly dared Bondi to arrest him, while another of the organizers, Nikema Levy-Armstrong, was adamant she did nothing wrong and that any charges against her would not hold up. Minneapolis Mayor Jacob Frey and other Democratic officials are calling the arrest political prosecutions.
I want to comment on Nikema Levy-Armstrong's arrest. It's a gross abuse of power, and she should immediately be released.
During his visit to the Twin Cities yesterday, Vice President J.D. Vance blamed state and local leaders for the chaos we're seeing on the streets of Minneapolis and said more cooperation with the feds could help ease those tensions.
I don't need Tim Walz or Jacob Frey or anybody else to come out and say that they agree with J.D. Vance or Donald Trump on immigration. I just don't need that. What I do need them to do is empower their local officials to help our federal officials out in a way where this can be a little bit less chaotic and it can be a little bit more targeted.
Today, activists are calling for a statewide shutdown with no work, no school, and no shopping in order for people to be able to focus on protesting ICE. The high temperature today across the Twin Cities is -8 degrees. Charlie?
Thanks, Garrett. So let's bring in Minnesota Congressman and House Majority Whip Tom Emmer. Congressman, it's so great to see you this morning. Thank you for joining us. You know, it's kind of amazing to sit back and watch, especially that footage of the attack on the church. I can't think of a greater attack on the First Amendment than what we saw there with the group of people going in and disrupting people's ability to gather freely and worship. What is public opinion in Minneapolis today about protests like that?
Well, good morning, Charlie, and thanks for reporting on this. Look, the chaos that you are seeing is the direct result of Tim Walz literally talking like Jefferson Davis, fighting with the federal government and encouraging. He's siding with paid activists and agitators who now have gone to the point of actually invading a faith service and interrupting people's ability to practice their faith. And then you have an Attorney General in Minnesota, Keith Ellison, Charlie, who says that is not an abuse of the First Amendment. Well, clearly, he needs a little refresher course back in law school, because that is a violation. It's a violation of federal law, too. And I think the message that Pam Bondi, our Attorney General, sent yesterday is the right message. If you are going to violate the law, if you are going to commit property damage, you are going to be arrested and you're going to be accountable. Finally, Donald Trump, Vice President Vance, Attorney General Pam Bondi are doing the job that Tim Walz and Keith Ellison have refused to do. They've refused to protect Minnesotans. And what you're seeing, right, I just want to add, Charlie, that is not reflective of Minnesota. Right. Minnesotans that I'm hearing from are happy that the federal government is actually taking action. And J.D. Vance couldn't be more correct when he says if there was some cooperation on the ground, guess what? This would all settle down very quickly.
Yeah. I want to change gears real quickly and talk about Ilhan Omar, one person for whom the economy has been really, really good. I wanted you to take a look at this. When she entered Congress, she reported having a negative net worth. In 2019, back in 2019, her household income, her household net worth has gone up from $0 to $30 million, and the value of her husband's company, Roselake Capital, has gone from some small amount of money up to $25 million. So apparently it really does pay to get into politics.
Well, I don't know what she's doing, but I suspect that it's not legal. Who knows? You don't see that kind of change. I mean, she reported on her disclosures around here about a $65,000 net worth just a couple of years back, and now, like you point out, Charlie, she's reporting it's $30 million. Look, Ilhan Omar is a hateful, racist anti-Semite who goes on national TV and plays the victim and goes to the University of Minnesota campus and essentially encourages violence on Jewish students. This needs to be investigated. She was right at the center of the Somali fraudster operation called Feeding Our Future, the $250 million fraud case, largest pandemic fraud case in the country. Those are her people, and they're the ones that donated to her campaign. Right. So Jamie Comer and the Oversight Committee are investigating this and looking into this, and this needs to be exposed.
Well, Tom Emmer, we appreciate you coming on. We look forward to seeing Congress get to the bottom of all of this.
Thanks, Charlie.
And we reach out to Congresswoman Omar's